Hey everyone! It's been about a year since I first joined the paleoart team and ARK modding as a whole, and I thought it'd be quite a bit of fun just to show off a bunch of the creatures and models I've made in the last year of making things with ARK mods, especially as I think most people know me for the Spotlight videos, which is very interesting because there's this entire other aspect I'm also doing meanwhile, and like I said, I thought it would just be a bit of fun to show things off. So, the whole adventure of ARK modding began with this creature here, the Eva Megaloceros. So, the way that everything all began, for context, I've been making 3D models for a couple of years anyway. I mostly did like private commissions, you know, OCs, mythical creatures, dragons, all that kind of stuff. And one day, me, Loki, Annie, Sarah, and a couple of our friends were all playing on a new ARK Survival Evolved map. And we were playing with the Megaloceros, and fun fact, did you know that, at least in ASC, I'm not sure about ASA, female Megaloceros have holes in the mesh of their heads where they just ripped off the antlers and just left like an actual physical hole you can see in the mesh. And not only that, but the deer just suck, and me and Loki thought, hey, let's try and make our own one. So this is the model I came up with, and I shared it on Twitter because I was quite proud of it. I gave a little comparison of this and the official ARK Megaloceros, and people mistook it for an official Wildcard TLC, which was really surprising. Really, we weren't expecting it. To which then, up from the depths, the leader of paleoart came over and was like, hey, can I take that, and could you join my team? And that is where the whole adventures began ever since. So this is our first contribution, which isn't finished yet. We ended up working on a whole bunch of other stuff for paleoart instead. But the Megaloceros has since gotten textures and hair cards. This will indeed come to the game in ASA. So starting with the Megaloceros, the first assignment I got for paleoart was the Mosasaurus, which in hindsight, my god, this is ambitious. I'm really surprised Depps trusted me with such a giant, iconic, and complicated creature. You might think, oh, it's, you know, a big fish. I know it's not a fish, it's a reptile. But, like, you know, it's a big fish-like creature. No limbs. Oh, that'd be easy. Ugh, the scales. I had such a hard time with the scales. This is not the final version. This was my last stage after I did, you know, the entire body, the concept, the everything you see right here. I then handed the model off to Chrono for her to touch up and finish the details, and she did an absolutely immaculate job. I just wasn't prepared to do full custom scales. It was a bit too much for me this early on. But yeah, so that's another one that's coming very, very soon actually. Current ETA on the Evo Mosasaur is October, give or take it with a pinch of salt. And like I said, the final version that she's done and the rest of the team, incredible. After Mosasaurus, we began on a secret project, which I'm not allowed to talk about. That's going to be a really awesome surprise. And then I was also tasked with the Smilodon. Now, you may have noticed it's not finished. There's obviously a complete lack of feet. I, as really proud of the Smilodon as I am, it doesn't really read Smilodon, and you know, it was a couple of months as I've worked on this because I was then assigned a whole bunch of other projects as well. And as time went on, I improved, and I now look at it thinking I could do better. So this model is being scrapped, and I will be doing a brand new one for Evo Smilodon. But hey, you can see my second or third assignment to paleoart. I can't remember if this was before or after the secret TLC. But yeah, another cool one. And then while I was working on Smilodon, I also had Therizino and Lady Mahadi. And around this time is also when Memricolion asked me to make her a Spotlight video. This was my first ASA Spotlight video entirely. And that one really took off. I was so surprised, especially because I was just having fun with a brand new mod. It was called Draconomicon. It was awesome, so I was happy to, you know, check it out for myself. And well, that's how all that started, which I'm very pleased about, and thank you all, by the way. I'm really surprised to see this so early in the timeline, but here is the Giga saddle that we also did for paleoart. Loki did the entire model, whereas I've done all the high poly details, the patterns, the leather, the stitching, the rope, and my favourite part was the wooden filigree carving. This was all my handiwork, which by the way, I'd never done any of this before, so I'm really proud of it. Fun fact, the final poly count for all of this was just shy of 300 million polygons. This is currently the nerfed version at 31 million polygons, which is still a lot. 10% of the original amount, but This was an interesting first and really kickstarted a brand new theme. So after the Giga Saddle, I finished Evo Therizino. This was started around the same time as Lady Mahadi, Smilodon, and the Secret TLC. So this is kind of chronological in terms of when I last touched the project, so in this case when I finished Evo Therizino. And I love how this looks. I got some really good musculature and anatomy advice from Clay, which I've been applying to my models ever since, so that's why this looks so hench. And I wish this was in the game already. This is one of my favourites. I cannot wait for Evo Therizino to actually be implemented. So meanwhile, let's take a quick detour for a moment. A lot of you might not know this, but this current YouTube channel I'm on right now is my smaller channel. I have a bigger channel I've been working on for many years, which I'm currently on a break from, and I have my channel mascot, which is the Jowie, or the Jowie-Sera, which is an alien dinosaur. Bit of it looks like a hybrid between a raptor, a spinosaur, and a dilophosaur, but it's a made-up alien. It's cool, I like it. And this was the model I made for it 6 years ago. This is the model I made for it 2 years ago, where it's kind of a bit more, you know, I've gotten better as an artist, so more details, more anatomy, much longer and thinner. This was 2 years, this was 6 years. This was 4 years ago, so everything before ARK modding, but I'd already been a long-term fan of ARK, and I'd always said, hey, one day I want to make my little Jowie character into ARK. This is my first interpretation or attempt at a ARK Jowie model. And you can tell I clearly referenced the ARK Raptor. The anatomy sucks, and I did scrap this in the end because I wasn't vibing with it. However, with all of the hype of being in paleoart and actually learning about modding, this is my modern version of the ARK Jowie, which I have to say, I think is so much better, a lot more stylized, but I think it fits ARK a lot more. It's clearly not finished because I had my hands full with so many projects. Again, when I was working on Lady Mahadi, Therizino, Smilodon, and the Secret TLC, and the Giga Saddle, all at the same time. So this is one I really, like, you know, as a personal wish, would like to do someday. I was originally going to animate and do everything myself because I would like to learn the entire pipeline. I want to do what, you know, Garuga and Moro and Creature Compendium all do. But then I've since realised that for how complicated like some of these animations are going to be, such as, you know, the frill animations, I have some friends I might pass this on to who I know would do a much better job. But this is something that I'm really quite passionate about, so one day this will hopefully be a really cool creature to have. I won't be able to talk about everything in full detail because otherwise this will be a massive video, so here are a couple of smaller projects in between, including some 2D art that I just wanted to try one day and have some fun with. Deps liked it, bless him, so he kept it. And then meanwhile, with the modding spotlight videos, Big Al really liked what I did with Meraxes, asked if I wanted to try out a scorched Meraxes variant, which was something I'd never done before. It was really cool, it was really sweet, and that's another thing I got to try for the first time. And then after some smaller commissions, I got my first big ARK commission, and that was the Buzzboldia saddle for Jimmy and the Creature Compendium team. And in hindsight, oh my god, I don't know why I accepted this because this was so ambitious. Now, of course, I'm glad, I'm really proud of it, but I'd never done my own saddle before. This is my very first saddle with Jimmy's concept art. And, oh god, I love how it looks, and I love even more the way they all brought it to life. I'm so proud of this. And I think also this and the Giga Saddle are the first things I've ever made that's ever made it into a game, so I'm really pleased about this. And then, speaking of the Buzzboldia saddle being my very first ever saddle I've made, the next one I'd ever made was the Archelon saddle for Garuga. So I made the entirety of this model, the saddle of course, obviously Garuga made the Archelon itself. And then after Loki did the retop and the UVs, I did the high poly details, such as all these leather markings you see around here, the folds at the bottom here, all those kind of details. And as I just mentioned, the Giga and Buzzboldia saddles are the first things I've ever made put into a game. It's weird to think that considering, you know, ARK Editions is becoming official, base game vanilla official, so is Archelon, so is his saddle, so all of a sudden, I have a saddle that's going to be made into the official base game, and obviously it's Garuga's success, I need to stress that, it's because of him. But how cool is that? That's so weird, and I'm really chuffed, and I was really not expecting it. And then, like I said earlier, Lady Mahadi. This begun at the same time, or shortly after, Smilodon, the Secret TLC, Therizino, and the Giga Saddle, and it took a couple of months to finish this, but here is my first creature with actual full custom scales. I'm so proud of this. This is by far still one of my favourite ever models, and I cannot wait for this one to get into the bloody game, because I really worked hard on this. And, oh, Lady, man, Lady's gonna be a beast. And then from my favourite model, we come to my least favourite model, and that is Cryptocleidus. So, when I say least favourite model, I'm proud of it. I like how it came out, and seeing this creature animated and really brought to life is such a puppy. I love this one so much. But this model was the worst thing I've ever worked on, and I'll get into more detail about that in the official release video. Screw this creature. Happy about the model. Screw this thing. You will find out exactly why. So like I said, I can't really talk about everything in massive detail, but here is the Rex saddle. This one, just like the Giga saddle. Loki made the model and I did all the high poly details. So again, all these patterns here, or embossing, all the stitching, that's something I've been doing a lot more of ever since. This is the first creature commission I'd gotten for ARK modding. This was for Lapis Lazuli. It is a type of trilobite, and this will be a shoulder pet, which I do believe Lapis is actually almost finished with, so you can hopefully expect this one quite soon. I've not had a ton of experience with invertebrates, so I'm actually really proud of how this one came out. It's so neat and tidy, so symmetrical. This was a quick base for the Evo Parasaur, a nice early head start, so I've not touched on it since. This was also touched upon by Clay, so this is my version before he added more to it, and he's really good at realism and accuracy, so don't worry, this will look quite a bit different, but this was my little 1 hour job, a nice quick base to get the project started. Here we have the Cryptocleidus saddle, which as you can see is a bit more simple compared to Rex and Giga, though one thing I'm very proud of is the little fish that sculpts inside the baskets. Fun fact, I also really enjoy doing eye textures, so here was a random goat eye I did just for my own fun, which has ended up being used for the Evo Megaloceros eye texture. Here is the African honey badger for Helianthus, which I showed off in the recent Aberrations video. This is also a work in progress, currently in the process of being animated, so should hopefully be coming out rather soon. Here's something really small that I did for fun, and I did for my best friend Annie, and this is a compy. Just a little compy. I've actually learned, using this, how to use Substance Painter, and I've actually put this into the dev kit. Now I just need to learn how to animate it before I can bring it to life. So here is a Gorgonopsid, which this version will not be made into a mod. This was actually just a random, rough warm-up model I made before I got back into my proper modeling again. I had to take a break for a while, and I did this as a warm-up. And let's just say that people enjoyed this one a lot more than I expected. Now here we have the female Tyrant Dragon for Draconomicon. This is the first of 3 models I'm currently working on for Draconomicon, with more planned in the future. I've had to take a break from this one, so this is the latest update on it so far. I will be coming back to this, and I've learned a lot more things since working on this. But yeah, she do be pretty massive. Pretty exciting indeed. Never thought I'd be making dragons or wyverns for ARK, but I absolutely love it. Next up was a commission for Big Al for a Meraxes Saddle TLC, using his concept, and for this one I made the entire model and the high poly textures. I believe Tristan was the one to have textured it, and Al did the hair cards that made the really cool flowing tattered straps. This is clearly very, very work in progress, but yes, I am indeed working on the Chinese dragon model for ARK. So this is for Project Kamiyama, which is by the Gaia team, and this is going to be mental, and this is the first of 3. I'd also like to mention that around this time as well, I'm working on lots of different creatures at the same time. So we saw the Draconomicon dragon, Meraxes Saddle, Gorgonopsid, this 2 other Kamiyama projects, and tons of secret stuff as well. So we're around that point now where I can't show everything, I can't talk about everything, but believe me, there is a lot of insane things cooking in the background. Here is the Megaranio saddle for Dragonheart and for Arcology. Dragonheart said, just go nuts, so this was the idea that I came up with. I did the model and the high poly details while Tristan did all the texturing. And here is another saddle, this time for lapis lazuli for their Majunga creature. And you might have noticed that so far, of all the creatures I've made, only saddles have made it into the game, which I find really funny and a little bit disappointing. So many creatures, as you've seen, not a single one of them in the game yet, and believe me, I am itching for something. But that being said though, these saddles are really fun. I never thought I'd be into saddles, and yet here we are. These have been awesome. Here is the Kirin for Project Kamiyama. Now, for what it's worth, this is obviously a pose instead of a T pose, so it looks a little bit funny. And the next creature from Kamiyama will look even funnier, but these guys have massive potential. The Kirin in particular is meant to have tons of fur. This is the male variant here. And I think the female variant is basically maybe without that as well. I think this is what the female variant will look like, and different horns or antlers as well. This one's gonna be crazy. Then I also worked on a Cryptoclidus and Maractes HUD icons. From Draconomicon, and at the same time as the Tyrant Dragon, we have the Panther Dragon, which you might notice bears a resemblance to a certain beloved character. I've had to take a pause from this one while working on, you know, a lot of other secret things and higher priority things. But this one I should be able to begin work on again extremely soon, and I'm looking forward to it. This one is about ready for details, very almost ready. Yeah, this will be a good one. Male and female variants as well, this will have sexual dimorphism. Here is a lynx I've made for True Piracy. Now you might think, oh, the anatomy's a little bit strange on this one, very big paws. First of all, lynxes have large paws, but also this is going to be covered in hair cards. And I can already tell you that with the hair cards added on by Loki and the rigging has been begun by Kami, it looks amazing. This with hair cards looks so lovely. Hey, remember that really funny looking Gorgonopsid earlier? So the Creature Compendium guys have offered to adopt it and to do all the heavy lifting and turn it into an actual mod, which I think is amazing, by the way, and I'm so grateful to them for that. So I've been working more on the Gorgonopsid, and here is the current variant, or not variants, current drafts. So the right one is the original where things started off with. The left one is more of a sketch, if you will. I sketch in 3D because it's just easier for me. So this is the kind of vibe that we are aiming for, ish, give or take a couple of things. And then, hold on. This is my last update on it so far, so you can see a couple of changes to the face in particular, a bit of changes to the anatomy, the, whatever you want to call this, spikes, I guess, osteoderms, I don't know. Obviously very stylized and very fictional, or fictitious. Yeah, this is what it's looking like so far. Now, if you are wanting a more realistic Gorgonopsid, don't worry, I do know of a couple of modders who are already working on more grounded varieties. Our one is going to be the really out there Monster Hunter-esque one, and I think I've said this a lot now, but I'm also very excited for this. Hey, here's another cool, crazy giant thing. Hatzagopteryx. This one's for Twee. This is based on the official Extinction Creature Submission vote, whatchamacallit. So Twee was the OG submitter, and he and Katana wanted it to be made, and so we all decided, yeah, screw it, let's do it ourselves. And this was the model so far. This was also when I tried a brand new technique for the feathering, the texture high poly details, and I'm really happy that it came out. This one has also begun rigging. So here is Ho-Oh, the Japanese phoenix for Project Kamiyama, and this is not the final pose. This is actually, as you can see, quite deformed into this posture because the actual proper A pose I made for this guy is really derpy looking. I'd rather show you a bit more of an aesthetic one, but again, it's all been properly done. And yep, every single feather was hand drawn using a brush, but still every individual one placed, and I really like these feet. I hate feet. I really hate sculpting feet, but I'm really proud of how these ones came out, especially that transition into just the rest of the creature. The feathering on this one, by the way, Loki's already begun the hair cards. When you see this guy fully feathered, you are not going to recognize it. Here is the HUD icon for the Evo Moser, and I have to say it's a bit poetic that the first thing I've made for paleoart and currently the last thing I finished for paleoart in this video is both Moser related, so we really have come full circle. And otherwise, this is the latest thing. This has been work in progress for a couple of months now. This is going to be Elasmosaurus, the Evo Plesiosaurus, or Plesiosaur. And this one is quite nearly done. Just got to do the flippers now. The flippers, bit around the base of the tail. This is also heavily majority hand sculpted. Very majority of it is. Oh, the entirety of the face is 100% hand sculpted. This one has been my Everest. This has been really challenging, which is why it's taken a long time. But, oh dude, Evo Elasmo, or Evo Plesiosaur Elasmosaurus, it's gonna be so cool. And this is where I leave off. Like I said, there are so many other models that are currently work in progress that either I can't show you or people want to keep it a surprise. Lots more mods all being worked on, both creatures and sandals alike, and potentially more that I'll be working on very soon. I'm very excited. There is so much, but yeah, no, like I said, I thought it'd be fun to look over everything, especially because it's a bit of a laugh. I've made all of these creatures, not one has made it into the game so far, but some are getting quite close. I find it really funny, and I thought, you know, like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of you know me for the modding spotlights, which I'm very grateful for. That's awesome, and I never expected that because models is what I've mainly been doing. The spotlights are, you know, my fun excuse to carry on playing the game because these take up a lot of time. And oh, it's gonna be weird reviewing creatures I've made when it comes down to that. But in any case, yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to show this off, especially because I have a bit of a unique opportunity where I am part of the modding development, so I can show off these kind of things. I'm not really sure that other creators can. And yeah, so every now and then I want to give a little nod to, you know, the teams in the background. There's a lot of awesome people working on everything. So many lovely people in the community. Oh my god. paleoart, Creature Compendium, Garuga, Morrow, everyone's so nice. So yeah, I'm rambling now. I thought it'd be fun to show off, so thank you all for watching and joining me in my rambles. Hopefully soon I can show you ever more creatures and a lot more of the secret ones currently working on. And otherwise, if you have any questions, please do feel free. I'll happily chat about anything, or just go into more detail about any of the creatures I've shown today if you'd like to hear anything, or read. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for watching, hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you all again next time. Cheers.